Welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, here to give you another anime review. So it's been a hot minute. As you probably, if you listened to the last episode of my last review, you might have known, or you might be re-listening to this. So it's been a little bit since I've reviewed stuff. September was pretty slow. There's been stuff, but it's nothing that has caught my attention. But as always, you can let me know on Instagram or YouTube of other stuff you think I could watch or to review. But yeah, it was pretty slow for me. Well, slow in a way, there was like nothing finishing up for me to watch. Like right now, it's the closing period at the moment for at least television series and movies. I believe there's a few movies coming out in October and November that I'll be like watching for sure. But yeah, September was pretty slow for closing off series. But yeah, now it's the point where everything's kind of ending in my opinion. So I do apologize for the slow spell of content on Reactioncast. But yeah, so we're going to be reviewing a very interesting series called Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. So this one's a pretty yeah, it's a pretty interesting show, to say the least. So I'm going to begin by prefacing that I actually was reading the manga and read some of the light novel prior to watching the series. So I had a concept of what this show was going to be. To do a basic general concept of what this show is, let's see here if I can give you like just a basic. Okay, let's go with this. This is the synapse that they give us. A despondent high school student, Meikyuu, discovers a shady online game proclaiming, if you're having a hard time living in this world, you can live in another one. Intrigued, he joins the game and creates his own character. Suddenly, he's transported to an alternate reality that he just like a video game. Overpowered with the ability to reset his status freely, Meikyuu begins his new adventure. That's kind of the base that I've been reading here. But yeah, it's kind of why can I say that? It's an isekai, overpowered for the most part. I don't think his character is that overpowered, but it does have in that world lore, he is overpowered, I would say. But don't expect to be like crazy, like overpowered, like some other isekai shows. I think it's a more grounded, overpowered, I would say. Now, when talking about this show, I would say this show in particular is way more in the graphic side of things. And when I mean graphic, I mean sexually graphic. Like, it has blood and gore in moments, and they do actually do a reasonable job showcasing some of the more intense things. But what this show did, because the way it's written, like I said, I've read it before, so I knew there was going to be certain scenes, so it's very sexually graphic. And the way I say that, it's like super censored if you're watching, because there's sites that you can watch the uncensored versions, and it's nothing really too much. I would say this show would have done a lot better, because it's like almost a softcore hentai. And what sucks is the world itself, the story behind it is actually reasonably good, and it's not held back from it, because it's his like motivation. It is am I saying this right? Meikyuu? Yeah, it's Meikyuu's like motivation to kind of just live in this world is him having a harem, having like his first partner is Roxanne, this like blonde dog girl, and this very, very like powerful like adventurer who helps him during his first few months. I would say I'm trying to think in spatial times, but the first few episodes, it's just Meikyuu and Roxanne trying to just live out their days. And I wish this kind of had, I know for Japan it's kind of hard sometimes to deal with like sexual nature, because there's mostly when it comes to fan service, it's like very light, but this one had a very like I wish it had, what's the best way that I can explain it? Like HBO levels of stuff where you could just show basically the sex scenes and just kind of get it over with, and then just continue with the story. Because the story is, like I said, it's pretty reasonably grounded. It's where it's not like too outlandish. It's just Meikyuu trying to live day by day, just exploring his abilities, exploring the world, and just trying to make his life as like simple as possible. As the story continues, he gets more companions. Like in this series, in this season, he gets Sherry. Here's the thing. In episode 1, I'm gonna say it's literally episode 1. Episode 1 just basically gives you all his partners, and I'm like, wow, that's. So I was like wondering like what they were gonna do for this show. And from my thoughts, I don't think we'll be getting any more. And if they're gonna, I think that's fine. I don't think we could get a better. I don't think we can get a better anime adaptation of Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. It would literally have to be a hentai done to be able to get the whole series out. And yeah, it's actually pretty disappointing because the world itself is pretty cool. Him discovering new abilities, trying to learn how to use his abilities, and just how he meets and treats his partners, and learning just more of the world, and just trying to find more ways to just try to expose himself from being too. He just doesn't want to be like be the eye of everyone else's attention. He just wants to live his life in his home with his partners. Simple, easy life. Who doesn't want that? Mostly when you have these abilities and you have these like beautiful like women around you, right? The thing is, the show does not do that. It visually it's good. It's animated good, and the action sequences are great. That's the thing. It's like it's visually good. It's it's the art style they chose is really great for what the show is. The thing that sucks is they just rushed certain things, and it's super censored. And I was even okay with some of the way they showcase a couple points, and kind of rush a couple plot points, but you kind of have to do that in anime or any show that's trying to adapt from a book standpoint. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's pretty disappointing, I'll be honest. I was actually hoping this show, like, it would have been fine if they downplayed some of the sexual elements to kind of play around with the world elements. Like, that would have been fine. They doubled down on the sexual elements without really doing much. And it just didn't work out well. And that's kind of disappointing, actually. It's pretty disappointing. Because I was hoping they were going to explore more of the universe of the Labyrinth of Another World, because I just kind of, there's some crazy stuff that happens later in the series which we'll never probably explore. And I think for what this season was, it's okay, not great. Like, there's moments, but there's nothing really, like, if I'm really being honest, it's just not the show that they showcase. Because I watched this on Crunchyroll /VRV. I would say it's pretty lackluster making all those other points, because they rush a couple things. There's a lot they could do. It's just very underwhelming towards the end, and it's a lot like rushed. Like, literally the finale is super rushed. Like, they just shove a bunch of like plots at the end, and like, what, yeah, it's just pretty disappointing for a show. Like, is it good? No, it's not. I don't even think it's average. It's pretty below average. and it's one of those shows where it's like it's not even bad, but it's nearing that, because it just could have been done more. Like, oh, it's just so disappointing. You know what, just because of the over censoring, I'm gonna just do that. You know, here's my final verdict for Harem in a Labyrinth of Another World. I'm gonna give this one a solid 4 out of 10. And you might be saying, why is it like so low? It's just the show that we are given, it's just over censored. The way they played it out was not to its benefit. Like, yeah, it could have done a lot better. And they, like I said, they did. There's an uncensored version out there, but you have to kind of hunt for it. It's not even worth it, because it's not even. But for me, this show would have been really good if they explored more and just expanded, and just kind of, like I said, downplayed some of the sexual scenes down, and just like it, because you didn't have to like last, because there's like sex scenes that lasted with the censor bars for probably like a solid minute and a half, 2 minutes. I'm like, okay, it's all censors. I don't care. That's kind of ruined the show, because the rest of the show was reasonably good, and that's what sucks. And I even was okay when they first started just like showcasing like what is it? Spoilers. Like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna happen in the future. Like here. But yeah, 4 out of 10. Those are my thoughts. I know it's a little longer than normal, but this is one of those shows where I was like actually like looking forward to some of the plots and some of the plots. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about it. As always, you can always find out what I'm watching on Instagram, or you can watch my shorts on TikTok or YouTube. If you're listening to this on any of the platforms, thank you for listening. As always, until next time, see ya.